Hey friends, welcome back to This Homemade Life. If you're new to my channel, my name is Courtney, and guys, it is finally here. It is the holiday season. I love this time of year. I say it all the time on my channel. I am no baker, and I'm really not, but this is my time to shine. I love being in the kitchen. I love all the goodies, the sweet treats, the appetizers, the food. It's perfect. So today we're gonna start off simple, just some holiday bark. I've got two different recipes. The first one is a dark chocolate peppermint bark. I've made this a couple of times. My family loves this. So I started off by melting 2 bags of dark chocolate chips. If you just want a smaller batch, just do 1 bag. My family loves this stuff. I mean, they love it. So I am making a little bit of a bigger batch. My husband will take some to work, stuff like that. So I like to melt my chocolate in the microwave. I do it for about 40 seconds and stir it. Then I do it in about 15-second intervals and continue to stir until it is just melted. Really got to be careful with that. Chocolate will melt like too far. I can't remember what the term for that is, but then it kind of breaks apart. It gets yucky and it won't work. So you really have to be cautious with it. I did, like I said, my first 40 seconds, and I think I did 3 different 15-second cycles after that. But you stir it in between to make sure the stuff that's melted kind of mixes in with the solid chunks, and that helps it all melt really nicely and get all glossy and pretty. Like I said, this is dark chocolate. I favor dark chocolate for this because I am using Bob's Sweet Stripe Mints. I love these. They're softer than like a regular peppermint starlight candy, so I think these are great for bark, and I like the texture of some bigger chunks and then the powdery stuff. So I just put mine in a zip top bag and I went at it with my my meat mallet. So if you guys are having a bad day or something like that, this recipe is going to make you feel so much better. Not only does it taste fantastic, but you get to take out some of those aggressions. I just kind of beat it until I had a nice mix of textures, and then I threw it all on here. I'm trying to get that mix of the powdery stuff, which is almost like glittery in some areas, and then the bigger chunks. And like I said, the Bob's Sweet Stripe Mints are softer, so they're not big chunks of really hard candy. They're easy to chew through. They kind of melt in your mouth. I think they're great for this kind of recipe. But sprinkle on as much or as little as you want. I go kind of heavy with it. I like to make sure I've got a little bit everywhere because it is kind of the star of the show. And you could use any chocolate you want, but I really do think that kind of rich, almost bitterness of dark chocolate plays so great with these really sweet mints. I think it's just a match made in heaven. It works out brilliantly. But once you have gotten all of your mints sprinkled on top of your chocolate, then just pop it in the fridge and let it set. Shouldn't take more than an hour, hour and a half. I do like to put mine on a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. You don't have to line it, but it is so much easier. So much easier. If you don't have some parchment, you could also do like a sil pad or something. It just makes it easier when you're dealing with it later. And then of course you just snap it into pieces like that. And I think it's so pretty and so festive, and the contrast of colors just, oh, it looks so good and it tastes amazing. It tastes like Christmas. Okay, on to recipe number 2. This is a cherry almond white chocolate bark. So I started off with 2 bags of white chocolate chips, and I melted them in the microwave just like I did the dark chocolate chips. I don't think these took as long. I think they were a lot quicker to melt. Just kind of stir it around, make sure it's all mixed well, and then I'm adding in about a teaspoon of almond extract. And then I'm going to mix that in really well. I still have a few chunks of white chocolate that didn't quite melt, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Don't worry about that. They're really tiny. We just want to make sure that that almond extract gets mixed all the way through here. Likewise, when you're making the dark chocolate bark, if you really want to, you could mix some peppermint extract. Make sure it's peppermint though, because if you do just mint extract, that's spearmint and it does not taste the same. Anyway, just like before, I've got my cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. This white chocolate sets a bit faster than the dark chocolate does. So you do want to work a little quickly with this one. It was already starting to kind of stiffen up on me, and you want to have plenty of time to kind of spread it out in a nice even layer across your cookie sheet. Just kind of start from the middle and work it out. Like I said, this one, it stiffened up a lot quicker. So I was trying to work as quickly as I could, and I did have a little trouble getting this one out to all the corners. but I made it in the end. It was okay. I think white chocolate with the cherry and the almond, it tastes really, really good. I think it's the perfect match for these. Again, you could use any chocolate you want, and you could use any fruit and nuts that you want. I've seen like pistachio and cherry before, and I bet that's really good. But one, pistachios are expensive, and two, I already had almonds in my pantry, so it just made sense to use those. I also already had the dried cherries in my pantry and all of the chocolate chips. So other than the Bob's Sweet Stripe mints that I bought at the store the other day, all of these were things I already had on hand. I'm just going to generously sprinkle these dried sweetened cherries across the top. Make sure when you get these, they are dried and sweetened. If you don't get the sweetened ones, they are pretty tart. You could use dried cranberries in this as well, but again, make sure they're sweetened because those are super tart. And then put on as much or as little as you like. I like a lot of fruit because it's kind of a thicker bark, so I think it tastes great with a lot of the cherries in there, and they're a nice contrast because the chocolate's kind of hard and the almonds are crispy, and then the cherries are soft and chewy. I'm using slivered almonds because that's what I have in my pantry, and I think they were just like really perfect for this. I just sprinkled that on as much as I wanted, and I did throw a little bit of coarse salt on the top of this because I think it's nice. Everything's really sweet on here, so that little bit of salt just brings something really nice. And as you can see, those are large pieces of, I think it was sea salt. It's either sea salt or kosher salt. I can't remember what it was that was in the box, but they're very large, coarse pieces of salt. For this one, I just kind of pat everything down a little bit to make sure that everybody is in the chocolate so that they stay in place. And just like before, we refrigerate this for like hour and a half, 2 hours, and it'll be set, and you just break it up into pieces, and that's it. You've got some beautiful bark that's ready for the holidays. It's so delicious. Let me know if you guys try these recipes at home. My family loves them. It's a great way to kick off the holidays. Thank you guys so much for being here, watching, and supporting. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate all of y'all. I hope you are having a wonderful week, and I hope your weekend is great too. I will see you guys tomorrow for my What's for Dinner video. Bye.